We wanted to give this session a special introduction because it's something that both me and Sia care a lot about. My name is Joseph, I'm the head of industry of Göteborg Film Festival. It's a pleasure to be here. And this is also a joint session between Nordic Film Market and TV Drama Vision, which makes this conversation that we will have especially meaningful.
In the 2025 Nostradamus Reality Resistance Report, we took a hard look at the societal changes that are currently reshaping our industry. And the picture is not entirely positive. However, in the epilogue of the report, authored by Johanna Koljonen, titled, the epilogue is titled Wonderful Things That Work, we shift focus. And there we explore projects that have truly worked, structurally, financially, and creatively.
And that is exactly what this session will be about. And together with some brilliant minds from the industry, we will explore strategies, projects, and models that have proven successful and discuss what might work in the future. And I also want to say a big thank you to our Nostradamus partner, German Films, for making this possible. Thank you, Simone, Andrea, and the other guys at German Films. And also thank you to the support from the Swedish Institute.
And to start the session, Andrea Reuter will guide us through the conversation with some of the finest filmmakers in the Nordics. Please welcome Benedikt Erlingsson, Isabella Eklöf, Milad Alami, and of course, Andrea on stage.
Please have a seat, everyone. I'm going to do a bit of a more in-depth introduction on each of you. I'll start here to my left is Milad Alami from Sweden, writer-director whose work often explores masculinity and belonging. And it includes, of course, the films The Charmer and Opponent and drama series like When the Dust Settles and episodes of Kastanjemannen. You've done a lot, as all of you have. And then we have Isabella Eklöf, also from Sweden, working everywhere. You work in Denmark, Milad, you work in Denmark and in different places. You're a writer-director known for uncompromising, provocative storytelling with features like Holiday, Kalak, and of course you've directed on the HBO show Industry. And then last but not least, we have Icelandic Benedikt Erlingsson and screenwriter behind internationally acclaimed films such as Of Horses and Men and Women at War. I think they've both been screened here at the festival. And now at the festival, the audience has the chance to see the TV drama series The Danish Woman, which is commissioned by the Icelandic public broadcaster RÚV. So I think you've been in these kind of 5-hour-long sessions with the audience here at the festival. Yeah. So welcome everyone. Let's give them a big applause. So this, of course, now our discussion is the first part of a bigger session called Wonderful Things That Work. And I really like that title. We should end on a good note, and it captures something that, of course, many in this room are grappling with right now. And to make work that is meaningful and ambitious and personal, that's one challenge, but then making it work, whatever that means within today's challenges, that's another reality. So we're going to talk about the creative experience and what it takes to sustain your creative voice, and then they can talk business in the later panel. But let's begin. So maybe I'm going to start with challenges. This is for everyone. What feels most challenging right now when you think about sustaining your creative voice in this landscape that we have at the moment? Do you want to start, Benedikt?
Oh, okay.
With this very easy question.
I don't know. I've been very privileged because the main thing for an author like me is to have a good producer that understands me. And that is the alpha and omega, because he is my knight and he has to take the fights, big fights. And so in a way, it's all about the marriage there between producer and the author, and that the producer really understands the pain of the author. You know, because author has a pain and he wants to make a film to get rid of this pain. you know, or something like this.
The mother of creativity.
So if the producer really understand that, then we can make compromises and we can find out and we can be creative and we can solve the problems and money because we are on the same track. So it's and it's classic. It's just communication. What is challenging for me is to have to communicate so much about my ideas. Making pitches, explaining everything, you know, and it is just the work. This is the work. We are communicators, and in a way, we want to connect. I think that is the essence, maybe of all human beings, but also of authors. Really, we are not there for the limelights or the red carpet. Or, okay, not a little bit. But, okay. But we are there to connect, you know, our ideas.
And do you think this has changed, that you
No,
need
it has
to do
not
more
changed.
of this communication nowadays, pitching and so on?
Yeah, you know, I am so unexperienced in filmmaking and film industry. I have not made, you know, only these 2 films and now this TV series, and I've been very privileged with very fantastic producers. My last 2 projects, they were fantastic. So I am, you know, I'm a prince in that sense, so I cannot talk. I really should think that this seminar, once you should have a panel here about things that don't work. And you could get a director and producer and everybody that had made shit together. And you can go over,
That's easy to book
break it
those
down,
guests.
understand what happened, where was the compromise, how did this happen? And it will be a therapy, of course. But that is really, understand when we miss the target. What happens? Because we are never aiming on missing. And sometimes, you know, there's a lot of shit out there that is made, and we have to analyze that.
Okay, you write that down, Sia, for next year. Isabella, what do you think is the most challenging right now in the industry for you?
Oh, God, I'm in a privileged position as well. You know, you really got the wrong crowd here. We're just making our shit, you know.
I wouldn't call it exactly that, but...
I mean, there's, of course, you know, different languages being spoken around filmmaking and storytelling on different levels. And of course, I mean, there's no secret that there's sort of an increased pressure from more and more monopolized markets where, you know, you have this, you know, you got to adapt for multiple people are on a different screen, so you got to say everything 3 times, and you got to
they're
make
not really watching.
yeah, sure that, you know, everyone understands like a very low common denominator, that kind of pressure. So I guess, I mean, I think probably that's been the case since filmmaking started, like 120 years ago. There's always been this push and pull between easy entertainment and really trying to explore things on a deeper level, you know, and it's always been the case, and it maybe always will be, that you're constantly sort of battling that also within yourself, because, you know, you want to please, you want to be seen, you do want the limelight.
What about you, Milad?
No, I mean, I'm also like these 2. I've had almost worked with the same people all the time, so I'm privileged that way. But I mean, for me, it's very different. The challenges can be, it's very different who you work with. Like with broadcaster, if you're doing TV series, for example. I mean, I've done a TV series called Bullshit, where I could do almost whatever we wanted because we had
and why was that you were allowed to do that?
It was Viaplay. It was maybe a sinking ship. They were like, we give all the money
Do whatever you want
to these crazy people. No, but I think that yeah, I mean, it was an original idea, and at the time, I think that they wanted to do something that had a little bit more edge than what you usually see. And I think that we were lucky that they really trusted us. And I mean, we worked, especially that project, I think we worked very long time with the script. We had a very strong producer who gave us the time to work very much with the script. So when we shot the series, we didn't even have like, I think we had no days of yellow pages. It was really the script, you know. But then I've done stuff for other, like also in the UK and stuff. But then it's a different thing, because it's like Isabella saying, like, you have some stuff that you have to really explain to the audience, so the trust that the audience understands isn't there as much as in, for example, with Bullshit. But you just have to kind of adapt. I think that as directors, you're kind of a chameleon. You have to kind of adapt at the situation and try to evoke some kind of creativity. Sometimes you have a lot of space to do that. Sometimes you have a showrunner with a very strict idea, and then you have to kind of, have a conversation with yourself. Is this something I want to do? Is it something I actually can be creative within? So it's very different where you work.
And I think that's interesting, this about adapting. Like, do you have some kind of things that you would not compromise on? I mean, you have your own voice anyway. Could you give us some examples of what that could be? Where you say, this is my limit, I don't adapt.
I don't adapt. No, I mean, I think for me, it's very much where for example, if it's a TV series and the first meeting with the writers, I think that if, when you feel and when I feel that there is no space for any creativity, that everything is kind of spelled out for you and they have a very clear idea what you can do and what you can't do, and if you challenge that idea and you feel that there is no leverage, then for me it's no point that they work with me. I often say this.
Then you say, I'm not.
Yeah, I mean, I say like it's better that you use a more kind of classical director, maybe, who makes 2 episodes of this series and exactly as you guys want it. But if you choose someone who actually has some ideas, we have to work together. I mean, and I've been lucky because all the showrunners I've worked with, also in the UK, have been open to this. And I wasn't. I remember the first meeting I had on Zoom with the showrunner and the producers, and they were like, "So what's your?"
What show was that?
It was a BBC show.
Yeah.
And they were like, "So what's your take?" And I was like, "I don't have one." Let's talk.
They were like, "We want you."
I remember I was like having this conversation, and they were like shocked that I was just trying to kind of talk to them, trying to find what they find interesting and see if I can find myself in it. So yeah.
Isabella, or Benedikt, please.
Well, I was just. I think to me the compromise is very much in the script. I think you can usually tell if there's something there that's real, or if it's just someone in Hollywood writing about their own life but making the penthouse even bigger. And it's shit. And I think the problem is you want to work. You want to work with talented people, you want to get your stuff out. So I think the biggest risk is when you start making compromise with what you choose to work with. And if it is a script that you feel is real and has urgency, then you make it where it'll be in there. You'll find the way.
Yeah, I feel it in my body when I cannot make a compromise. But it's, it's interesting because often this resistance that you get, it's a gift sometimes. There's a gift to you. You have to open your mind. And I really discovered that these people, the programmers, they're reading and it's their job to make a comment about something. And you don't have to respect it. You can argue with them, I discovered. Oh, I can argue. I can say, yeah, I heard your comment, but, and then I came with my bullshit, and then they said, okay, And I said, wow, okay, I can do that. So that was a beautiful discovery. But I had a hard experience because I wanted to kill a cat in the first sequence of The Danish Woman. And I was told that I knew, I had written the book, Save the Cat. And I really wanted to, go against that. So let the protagonist kill a cat, first sequence. And then still try to get the audience in. And it's like a reference to the Icelandic sagas. They are always killing a cat very early on, somehow. And they are still our heroes, anti-heroes. So I didn't believe in the concept of saving the cat, and I wanted to make the audience very afraid of the character, still fascinated. And this was really a struggle through all the finals, And I did some adaptations. She kills the cat, but maybe not as brutally as I had thought, and she
kind of like
puts it in a
killing.
freezer, and we are not showing the cat except in the end of the episode. So people have had time to connect to her. So there's a game like this where but I think I'm not dealing with bad people. I'm dealing with Homo sapiens. I'm dealing with my audience, you know. And when I see the reaction of this, there is like, everybody's very, on Facebook, we are screening this in Reykjavik, in Iceland, and there have these Facebook sites where they're commenting, and you can see, okay, everybody happy, and like one comes, I hate her, she killed the cat, and then 100 hallelujahs, and then I hate it, did you see what she did with the cat? So there is like a % that is really, doesn't have the perspective there. It cannot read. They are analphabet on storytelling in that sense. They just are offended.
Do you have any concrete examples like that of a thing where you kind of like navigated the comments and kept your creative vision, Isabella?
Yeah, well, I mean, I chose to keep, you know, an explicit rape scene in every single movie I've made, and it's been screened less because of it. And that's the compromise I had to make, and I'm perfectly happy with that. I understood that was going to be the consequence. And it's okay, because I'm playing the long game, you know, it's still going to be there in 100 years. And it doesn't maybe matter so much how many people saw it in the first year.
So for you, your creative vision is more important than getting the maximum audience?
Absolutely.
What about you?
I think we get very greedy. You know, a lot of people see our stuff. We don't. Doesn't have to be seen by millions. You know, it's fine. You know, chill.
I think. I mean, I've never kind of had any. You know, I haven't like usually. Like for example, when we did Bullshit, I had this idea to make a whole episode in one take. I mean, and that was very important for me. But the way
this was before adolescence and
yes,
before the one in the studio. Okay.
Exactly. We're the first one. But it's for me, it's kind of, you know, dealing with notes and it's always trying to understand, you know, and there was like an editor who told me, because I was always so frustrated in editing, and I was like, why? He was like, you know, you have to understand like what's behind the note, or what are they trying to say. And that's a way I try to kind of, you know, work when I get notes. And for that one episode thing, I knew that if I'm going to be able to make this and not compromise with it, I have to write it in the script very early on. So everyone gets used to it. That's the way I did it there. Yeah. So it was like on the second version of the script, it said with like capital letters, this episode is in one take. And then like, you know, and then people kind of, at first, I mean, people were afraid, but then they kind of understood, okay, there is an idea behind it. But I've never had anything like you. Like, I don't have any rape scenes that but you know, I haven't like had anything that I'm like strict on, okay, I need to,
And all of you move between cinema and television, and I mean, it is different mediums, and the possibility of being an author is still bigger in cinema, I would say. But where do you feel the strongest sense of authorship?
I'll never going to do a TV again. Yeah, maybe second season of Danish Woman, mostly. But I think it's too hard and too much work in one bait, and too many opinions. You know, making a TV series and trying to sell it is like entering a home of some person that is going to finance it, and the owner says, yeah, hi Benedikt, I want you to make a piece of art for me. It has to fit on this wall. And it has to be in palette with the painting and the furniture. This is the slot that you have, you know. So you are decorating somebody's home. Of course, it's creative. You can work into the frame, you know. But this is TV, you know. And I respect it, but that's the game. But I'm going to try to make. My goal now is to make a one-man show out of my next film manuscript. So I think then I will have a maximal freedom. I will just act the film manuscript and show it. And I'm really doing it. And I will get more money also out of it.
Yes, because you're getting everything.
I want money now. So I'm going to do one-man show out of my film manuscripts.
What about you, Isabella? Where do you feel the strongest authorship?
Oh, yeah, no, well, I mean, that's no question, is it? Obviously, everyone knows that there are too many voices in television, and it's making television worse than it needs to be, and it's a shame. It's no secret.
I'm thinking, we were talking about notes and of course about like how to make something that is supposed to fit into something. But what conditions would you say make it possible for something to work nowadays? And now we're talking specifically about drama series. What would be the conditions for you?
Well, I think Milad is right, that if you have something from the very start that is a premise, then people will forget. It's exactly the same as within the work itself. If you have whatever rules the universe has, you present them in the first 15 minutes and everybody buys it, whatever it is. It's the same thing. So this is a one-shot story and people will forget that they ever had a choice. You know, that's what we're doing now. And so we were lucky with the Death of Bunny Monroe that comes out in 2 days on Sky Showtime. And they have done no commercial for it, so I'm trying to push it.
Say the title of the show again.
The Death of Bunny Monroe. It's written by Nick Cave, and that was our hook, our thing that made them, who are like a very super commercial entity, buy a lot of crazy shit that they would otherwise have vetoed because it's Nick Cave and you don't touch him.
So that was the condition that made that work.
Yeah, that made it possible to do all the very creative and scary and emotionally challenging stuff that we did in the series.
Milad, could you say something about which conditions for you that makes your work work?
I think it's kind of it again, it depends. I was super lucky when I did Bullshit because I had so much trust and freedom. When there is a TV series, for example, if BBC or whatever they want me to do something, it's almost like I'm always curious in the beginning, like what's the reason you want me? Like what's the reason you are calling me for? What quality do you think that I have that fits this show? And if I see that, okay, with the material that I have, that it's a strong script and I can kind of work with that, then that for me, it works. You know, I will do that because then I know that I can work within the sphere of but for me, it's very much in the beginning. It's kind of talking, and also if there is stuff that I myself has written together with writers, we very much in the beginning talk a lot. Like, for example, when we did Bullshit, we talked long time before we decided how to approach that story. And it's the same, I'm working on a show with the same writers, and we've been talking for 6 months about, and then we kind of found, okay, this is what we want. And then in the beginning, you know, when you have meetings, you just present the idea and say, okay, we really believe in this. Then if you feel that they are okay with that, then that works.
So if we flip it around and say, what are the conditions that don't work for you? If you want to educate the broadcaster and the commissioners here, what are those kind of things that make you feel, okay, I can't work, I can't express my artistic vision?
Don't ever say, make it shorter for more tension again to anyone. It's the stupidest thing and they all do it. Like, if you make it shorter, you have less tension. If you make it longer, you have more tension. Okay, so that's one thing you can, you know, take to heart. But yeah, it's not. It's, you know, it's just I don't know. I think I gotta give it over to someone else. I don't know the answer.
Yeah, I think you know it is. You're investing in a talent of you know the producer. And everybody that I'm working with are in a way investing in my opinions and my talent, and it doesn't mean that they cannot have a dialogue, you know. But I have the sword that is able to cut the throat if we don't agree. So it is the most important for me because I think I'm very cooperative, but I have to know that in the end I can rule, you know. And I think, yes, but the thing is that I also have to respect this because it's like the history of art is variation and a schema, you know. Somebody finds something, you know, he discovered, okay, we are making films, we can make a close-up. We make a close-up of a cat, we cut it into the film. And that is a variation, never done before. And then, oh, this is fantastic. Now films are with close-ups. And you know, and that becomes a new schema. And then there comes a new variation. And everybody is always so afraid of the variation. You have to fight for the variation. And then it becomes a new schema, a new box that everybody are so willing to establish a rule and a principle in this very young art form that is film art. You know, it's 100 years old, and everybody think that it's like now it is there. In a way, theater is a much experimental format today. I think films and filmmakers should look to theater and see where people are really now experimenting with the format of storytelling. And we can be influenced by theater. But I think, you know, what I learned here, you're right. You have to spell it very big variation. This film is a variation of everything that you have seen, you know. And then you every page variation. So okay, you get this is a variation. This is variation. You know. I think that is. Thank you for giving me that. I will use this next time.
Being very literal and clear about. So you already talked some of this around this topic, but I was thinking. So, what is it that you look for in producers and partners before committing to a project?
I mean, it's like when you work with actors. I think for me, it's kind of finding a space where you can kind of dream together. I mean, when I meet a producer, when we talk, if I feel that we kind of share the same ambition or dream, or even we fantasize about what this can be, and if that happens, then I know that okay, this will be inspiring, because it's a long commitment. You know, when you do these things, it's many years. So I kind of treat it the same way. That's also why I'm like working with the same people, even same actors in many different. I really I have like huge respect for, you know, like what Yorgos Lanthimos is doing, or even like what Cassavetes did. That it's almost like this theater group that are kind of just working together. And for me, it's very inspiring, because I feel that they inspire me and they push me as well. Like, for example, even with this one shot in Bullshit, or even my feature films, that they know when I am being afraid or something, or when I'm lying or whatever, and the actors kind of can see it more instantly because I work so much with them. So for me, it's kind of, I haven't worked with that many different producers, but when I meet people, it's very much kind of, can we kind of share the same dream of what this can be?
Isabella, what about you?
Well, I think intellectual curiosity, someone who's actually interested in understanding and exploring the world, and not has this preconceived idea. I mean, it could be some people are very cynical, and I think that's a very sad way to live, if you have this set notion about how the world is, and it will never be healed and nothing can change it. And kindness, empathy, being able to mirror each other. And I think I look for very different things in actors actually than in I think producer. Should be curious about the world.
What about you?
Yeah, you're right. I think this is about fraternity in a way. You really, this is so delicate relationship that for it to work, you need friendship. You need to be, you have to level. And that is love in a way. You have to create warmth and friendship and understanding. And to survive this fight, and it's a long-term fight, because it will continue, and then you probably will own something together. So when you're looking for a producer, you are looking for friends, in a way.
And in that way, you can create your own family, and in that way, they won't be so pressured to whatever the group outside thinks or doesn't think. You have your own little group, you have your own little sect, ideally. Yeah.
And
all about love.
Yes.
You said pressured, and there is much pressure on the industry right now. And of course, we've been talking about it these days. There's the project. It's more expensive to make stuff, and the financing is going down in a lot of places. Where do you feel this pressure? If you compare to how it was before, maybe 10 years ago, you've all worked in the business for a while. Do you see a difference? Do you feel that difference in and affecting your creativity and your vision?
I don't know if it affects, maybe it affects the creativity, but I think you can definitely sense that it's less money now. I mean, definitely you can sense that, especially, I mean, I've been working both in Denmark and Sweden, and you can definitely sense that Sweden has, the film money isn't enough for the population and the talent. So, I mean, that kind of maybe can create a situation where people aren't, like they start to like self-censor, or they don't want to share the stories that they really want to do because they're afraid they're not going to get funding. But I think it's different because I can just see when I did my first feature film, it was like 100% it's going to be in the cinema, it's going to be screened. It was distributed in many different countries, in the whole Scandinavia and the States, in the UK. But with my second feature, I definitely sense that, okay, holy shit, it's different now. It's much more closer to going to directly to stream, and also the co-financing money wasn't as easy to get as it was earlier. I'm not a producer, I don't know all the details about it, but as a director, you could sense that, you know, that it's just more difficult. Especially if I was only working in Sweden, I would be really afraid because it's just like when I talk to colleagues and stuff, there's so much talent there, but the funding isn't just enough for it. So yeah.
So working in many different markets would be one way to kind of.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it's been basically, you know, I mean, it's basically you have to survive as a director. So for me, it's very much, okay, I can work with different things. I can work with as a TV series, I can work in Denmark, I can work in the UK, so that's a way I've done it, you know.
So how do you navigate, Benedikt?
Yeah, maybe I have to immigrate to Denmark or Sweden. I think maybe.
But he just said that Sweden doesn't have enough.
Yeah, but
Sweden.
not Sweden, yes, but well, Finland maybe. But
I'm sorry, I can't recommend that
okay.
either. It's like
Go to Denmark.
a lot of production companies are
There's only
going
Denmark
broke.
left out of the five.
Norway.
Yeah.
Norway have like oil money.
All money.
Yeah.
That's
Go to
okay. Now we decided.
I came from Norway 1,000 years ago, so that's okay. We can come back.
If
Maybe-
King Haakon doesn't kill you.
But for me, you know, working with two horses, it's my way of life, theater and film, and maybe we have to start to think about two countries, and you know, one way is also to go to the registration office and change my gender to you know, 0, or you know, no gender or female, because then I have increased possibilities somehow.
Some kind of quota.
Yeah, good. So there are a lot of ways there, but in a way, you know, everything is changing, and maybe it has always been like that, but I have no answers. I'm just trying to do my stuff, and maybe I have to do something drastic to be able to continue as a film director. But if not, then I will find something else to do. So
Let's hope that's not the way to get
not the end of the world.
to deal
No,
with the pressure.
it is not the
Isabella,
end of the world. You
what
can
about
always go write books or something. You know, it's not like sometimes I feel like this idea that we have to keep working at every cost, you know, and every compromise. We don't. There are other things we can do with our lives, you know. But I was going to say this dogma thing, we haven't even mentioned it, is obviously a reaction to that increased pressure, that we're creating these rules where we cut everything down to the bare minimum, and that's one way to go about it, to increase the artistic freedom. I am doing a lot of stuff with the Dogma project that is influenced by theater work, you know, improvising scenes in order to develop them. Some devising is the cool word, right? So yeah, I think you're right. We got to look at other ways to do it.
So we are running out of time, unfortunately, but of course the session will continue and I will give the stage to Johanna. But first, let's give a big thank you to Benedikt, Isabella and Milad.